think has better insight on what's going on, social media or me? So for people to imply that like she was blindsided, she didn't know, is like insulting to my intelligence. Were things he was comfortable sharing and things I said, do they know what you look like? And he's like, I don't think so.
I'm going to start off with a disclaimer as I try to do. Okay, my reviews on these shows are based on just what I see on the shows. I try not to dwell into people's lives. I try not to go once they leave the show and sort of poke around and sort of see what they're doing and make sarcastic comments. No, I will comment if I think something is stupid, especially on Twitter or Instagram. But otherwise, I only comment about people on the shows that they're on. And the moment they leave the show, if I'm going to continue supporting you, I support you. But that's it. I'm never going to say anything that I feel is upsetting. But anyway, I'm sorry for the late review. Life has been lifing and I've been reviewing other shows. But anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. Turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. And definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, Season 7, Episode 13, The Reunion. Right. So you have past participants come up. Some of them I don't even know why they're there. I really don't even know. But anyway, it is what it is. And my favorites, Zack and Bliss, are there with baby Galileo. So they, Nick and Vanessa come out. They sort of introduced the couples that are married, that said I do, that are still married, which is Gareth and Taylor and Tyler and Ashley. I am surprised that Tyler and Ashley are still together, but who am I to judge? If she loves it, good for her. Anyway, so I think to get the elephant out of the room, they decided to start off with Ashley and Tyler. And for me, this is a very complex situation because I don't know why Ashley continues to support this mess. I really don't. And I felt sorry for her mom because her mom, you could tell, wanted to cry, but she can't do anything but support her daughter. And it's like, yeah, support your daughter, but be honest with your daughter, because if you cannot love your daughter enough to be honest with her, who else is going to? The audacity for Ashley to say, who knows the internet or me? And it's like, well, the truth is coming out. Well, parts of the truth, because there's his story, there's the two women's story, and then there's the truth. So the stories are coming out and the internets are talking, and people with followers are going to always be looking for gossip. And when they look for gossip, they're going to get those people to come out and reveal their story or tell their side of the story. And it's not looking good for your husband. For you to say we are married for better or for worse, this is past worse. And sadly, all the empathy for Ashley has gone out the window, because you sat beside this man and is talking that, okay, I donated sperm to my friend, and then when her wife left her, I stepped up because I didn't want her to be a single parent. And you to support that and say, oh, he grew up in a single parent household, so he didn't want those children to grow up in a single parent household. Well, what's happening now? What's happening now? Because apparently he hasn't spoken to the children since he signed up for the show or since he went on the show. What's happening now? They're more or less back to square one. They're now still being, considered to be children from a single parent household, because you and your husband are not communicating with them. Those children are being looked after by their mother. Their supposed father is calling them out as those children. I don't get it. I really don't. I wish they'd both come on the show and said, okay, what happened is Tyler took me aside, told me about the children. He didn't want to speak about it in the pods, told me about the children and the circumstances in which the children were conceived. And he asked me not to discuss anything on camera because he didn't want it out there for people to sort of go about and be talking about these children. So this is why he wanted to keep it private. And now that this information has been shared, we want to apologize to the children, because this was never our intention. They should have apologized to those children, Tyler and Ashley. This was never our intention. We're sorry they feel the way they do. And we are trying to move on as a family, because he has stepped up to be a father figure. He can't stop being a father figure just because he's married. And there is loving and supporting a partner, but there's times where that love needs eyes to see. And in this situation, Ashley's love needs eyes to see. It needs eyes to see, because it's going down a trench that she's not going to be able to dig herself out of. For her to be that dismissive and sort of combative with viewers is not going to end very well, because there are trolls out there that live for this type of information, and that will drag her and make her marriage very miserable. I feel like the two of them should have come in. They should have apologized. We're sorry, this has come to light. we didn't want the children to be a part of our story, and we had a conversation. We had a conversation with their mother. We want to sincerely apologize, not only to the children, but to my friend, their mother, and left it at that, and people would have been okay. I think I'm one of the very few people that was really not impressed with AD. I don't get the AD hype. I'm sorry. I know. As a woman of color, I should support her and whatever. But I felt like AD came on there to be famous, and she's got what she came on for. Because I remember how she talked about her being cast for the show, how her ex-boyfriend got the message, and then she said to him, you phoned them back immediately, give me the number, blah, 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 blah. It seemed like this is something that she had been looking for, an opportunity. So I don't get the hype. I know she says she's doing very well, she's amazing, blah, blah, blah. She's seeing someone, but she's going to keep it on the down low. Good for her. I like people to succeed. I root for love. But personally, I've never got the AD hype, and I've never understood it. So I have nothing really to say about her. Anyway, next is Marissa and Ramses. If you've been here a while, you know my opinion of Marissa. I felt Marissa made a mistake in picking Ramses. I felt Marissa was better off with Bowden, and I'm actually surprised that she still continues to grieve for this relationship, because this man, all he seemed to her to be was good at sex, because of the star sign, because of what she mentioned. As soon as he told her his star sign, she ran and she broke off things with Bowden, because she was telling Hannah that, oh my God, do you know what this means? Do you know what this means? And because of that, she was left with someone who couldn't love the whole of her, someone who was self-centered. I remember saying this, that everything revolves around this man. He wants her to do this. He's happy she does A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but he's never spoken about what he does for her. Am I surprised the mother was upset and said she would have punched him? No. Do I agree with it? No. But when you're upset, at times you say whatever you say, to express your emotion. I don't think she was literally going to punch him. I think she was just telling him how she felt. And so Ramses should have come out and apologized. End of story. I know how I came across on the show. I know seeing Marissa cry broke my heart. I want to sincerely apologize to her, that I wish I had known better, or I wish I had known sooner, and I would have broken things off. Ramses wanted to be on the show. He was the AD of the season. He wanted to be on the show, and he realized that Marissa was also having a connection with Bowden, and decided to sell himself as the ideal partner for Marissa. And when she bought whatever he was selling, they ended up in this situation. For him to want to sort of clarify the contraception stuff and whatever, that's not necessary. We don't need to hear anything. We just need you to apologize and keep it moving. And Marissa, if you're going to have smoke for this man and address all your concerns with this man. Don't be whispering to Hannah, because Hannah wasn't in your relationship. Have a conversation with this man, iron out whatever, or address whatever you want to address with him, and then keep it moving. You will find your person, as Nika said. You will find your person that will appreciate you wholeheartedly. I wish you'd gone to Bowden, but hey, it is what it is. Am I the only one who gets giddy when they talk about Zack and Bliss? I love Zack and Bliss. I love their story. I think what happened with Zack and Bliss is more or less what happened with Marissa, Bowden, and what's his name, Ramses. The only difference is Zack was quick to sort of realize that this person really doesn't like me, but she's using me to be on the show, and he went for the person that he actually had the strongest connection with, and now he's happily married. I think they're on year 2, if not year 3, with their daughter Galileo. And so I love their story. I love their love story. I know a lot of people say, oh, it wasn't, he didn't like her. He only sort of fell back. I feel like he was used, and he's not the first person to be used in the experiment, because some people come on the show wanting to be on the show, and they know that the only way they can be on the show is if they find a match. And so they will tell someone what they feel they want to hear in order to be selected. And this is the same thing that happened with Zack. And, he was used to sort of pick by Irina to pick her when she really didn't like him like that. Only when they came out of the pods did he realize that actually this person doesn't love me, she's using me. And sadly, Marissa didn't have that in her to recognize it, because she was having great sex. I love that Leanne Warwick is still in communication with them, because they played her song at their wedding, and they really seem at peace. Zack and Bliss to me come across as two people that entered the experiment wanting to find a soulmate, got in, followed the experiment for what it is, and found their person, and now they're living happily ever after. should I say, touch wood. So I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy that they're in love. I'm so happy that they have their daughter and they're just doing them. Marshall was there. He was on the same season as them. And you can see the pride on him because he has been around them. He has seen how much they love each other and he knows how much this means to them. Because season 4, in my opinion, was the best season, if not well, in my from what I've watched, because I haven't watched season 1, in my opinion, was the best season because you have more couples that left there that were married, and you have more couples that or more people that actually get along and actually like one another. There wasn't any vindictiveness or any maliciousness or anything negative said about anyone like in previous seasons or future seasons after that. But I really love Zack and Bliss, and I'm so happy that they are there with their daughter and her mum. There are certain people you wish could just keep quiet. Self-awareness does not cost anything at all. It doesn't cost anything. And it's very sad and very disheartening to see someone embarrass themselves like this. The audacity for Hannah to sit up there and not apologize and instead look for something to sort of bang Nick's head on is shocking, really shocking, in the sense that she is complaining that Nick said, you know, he was underwhelmed by her looks. She's not apologetic for how she spoke to him, and also the Katie incident. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. You said the same thing. You said he didn't look the way he sounded or the way he described himself. So why are you suddenly upset and surprised that he is complaining about you? You thought you were a 10. He didn't think you were a 10. That's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that and just keep it moving. There's no need for you to degrade and devalue this man and to criticize him and to talk badly about him. That's not necessary. That really is not necessary. And that's uncalled for. And the audacity for Marissa. I love you, Marissa, but this is bad. This has left a bad taste in my mouth about you because you have more smoke for Nick, who you were not in a couple with, than for someone who you were in a couple with. Why did you not have so much smoke for Ramses? And the audacity to scream out, well, I was still hooking up with Ramses even after he broke my heart. It just shows how petty and how in the gutter you and Hannah are. They say birds of a feather flock together, and you're flocking. You really are flocking together. And Marissa's mom, for her to say, you know, how can Hannah say she loves you and you're her friend and she trusts you, and yet she's had you feeling bad for over a year? Good for Hannah. Good for Marissa's mom. She called it, because at the end of the day, they are complaining that Nick came on the show wanting to be famous. And it's like, Hannah, you resigned your job to come onto the show. What did you want? Why didn't you go on a dating app? Why did you not go on a dating app and find yourself a guy? Why did you need to come to Love is Blind? Because you wanted fame off it. That's it. You didn't want a husband, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as anyone else with 2 eyes to see. Even her parents were saying the same thing, that she can be terrible and she can be a menace with how she speaks to people. And so for her to not see this and not understand this, I don't get it. Because if your own family is calling you out for the way you speak to people, your own family is calling out for your own bad behavior, her brother called her out. And so I am pleasantly surprised that she didn't have the audacity to come up here and apologize. That's the least she should have done. I'm so sorry for the way I spoke to you, Nick. That was uncalled for. I really would like to sincerely apologize for that. Sadly, Marissa and Hannah were encouraging each other stupid, and they're encouraging each other to say silly stuff. I don't get it. You can be friends with someone, but you don't necessarily need to go into the gutter with them. And the audacity of all the girls, including people like Monica and Alex, they need to sit down and mind their business, because this is not a good look. Unless they're looking for clout, unless they're looking for people to say something about them, they need to mind their own business and keep it moving and leave this poor man alone. I didn't like it. Yes, he's a menace. At the end of the day, we shouldn't forget that Hannah brought him back after she had broken up with him. So she wanted to be on the show, realized Leo wasn't keeping her on the show, and then she decided to bring him back. So please keep quiet. So we have Leo and Brittany. What do I think? Leo and Brittany. Leo and Brittany were never going to work. Brittany liked Leo's purse. I remember saying this at the time, that Brittany liked Leo's purse. She didn't like Leo as a person, but she loved his purse and the fact that she could get whatever she wanted from it. So they discussed his wealth, and obviously he has now recognized that he does talk about it a lot. And I like that Tim actually spoke up for him, that he's a very nice guy. Outside of him talking about his wealth, he's a very nice, creative guy who has a lot more to offer than what was shown on the show. Obviously, the show will never show us the full person as a whole. They will pick up on things that they think are entertaining, and that's what they'll focus on. So are we surprised that, everyone is saying he's a nice guy? No. Yeah, I like the fact the path that he took is the path that Hannah should have taken, in the sense that he apologized for his bad behavior on the show. He apologized for hurting people's feelings, and I wish people like Hannah had taken a page out of his book and actually apologized instead of coming to stand 10 toes deep in stupid. He was able to recognize his own areas of weakness and areas of further development, and he acknowledged, how he treated Hannah. I think Hannah expected him to be shocked by her look, and he didn't seem impressed. He didn't seem phased. And so if Hannah is sad that Nick said she was a grenade and she wasn't good looking, I would assume that Leo thinks the same. I don't think he would be interested in her. I think looking at her, comparing her to Brittany, he actually thinks, he did what he did, and that's it. Yes, I give him credit. I think he must have gone to counseling. Someone must have told him to take ownership. So he took ownership for his conversations with Hannah and apologized for that, made amends, and he took ownership of what he did to Brittany, made amends, and said that they're very good friends. Brittany, on her part, says she's dating. Are we surprised? No, she's looking for someone to look after her. So obviously she's going to be on the market. So she's looking for someone to be a sugar daddy. Hopefully she's found that. There wasn't really much to say about the two of them. So next is Stephen and Monica. And Stephen, yes, we know, had an inappropriate conversation or was flirting with someone during the experiment, but nothing was brought up about Monica's bad behavior and the way she spoke to him. Monica was just as bad as Hannah, but not as terrible as Hannah. She didn't go as far as Hannah went, but she used to be derogatory towards this man. She used to belittle him. She used to be so demanding. I remember the incident about the flowers. So for us to bring up his indiscretions and not bring up hers doesn't make sense to me. If they've moved on, he said he apologized. He brought up that he wrote a letter to her parents. She's now upset because she's saying he only wrote the letter so that he could bring it up at the reunion. And it's like, please, why did you accept it if you knew that's what his goal was? Why did you accept the letter? I like the fact that he was very apologetic. Stephen has been apologetic. Leo has been apologetic. Ramses, Nick has been apologetic. And it's interesting that none of the girls thus far has apologized, apart from Hannah apologizing to Katie, but nobody else has apologized to the guys. And it's like, what are we missing? To watch Tim and Alex is both heartbreaking and I don't even know what other word to use. And devastating, I think, because we all knew there was a fight and it was implied that Alex put her hand on Tim, but we didn't quite understand in what context. And apparently, they both agreed that she put her hands on his mouth to stop him from talking because he was talking and she didn't want production to come in and record him. I think at this point, she still felt like they were going to have an opportunity to get married and say yes and walk down the altar. So she didn't want her future husband to get a bad at it. That makes sense. He agrees that yes, she did put her hand on his mouth, but it wasn't in an abusive way. It was more or less to silence him because she didn't want production to know what was happening. But then once we get over that, it gets mucky because he is feeling some type of way about the fact that she fell asleep on his parents, although he had gone out of his way to make her family feel comfortable. She says she was tired because she had to go bartending that night. And it's a bit tricky. I would empathize with Alex, but my question is, why choose the night when you know that his family is there to go to work? Why not choose a different night? Is my question. Did she go to work because she didn't want to be around his family because she was upset at the fact that he had told her that he was still questioning whether or not he would say yes? Or did she go to work because she needed the money? Because she could have postponed the shift, or she could have picked up a shift on another day, because apparently this was the only day that she worked during the experiment. So it makes me question, what was her intention behind going to work knowing that his parents had driven down to see her? I get why he's upset, but also he, I think, is very sort of obsessive on the fact that she fell asleep on his parents, so he can never move away from that. It makes me question, what else did his family say to him? Did they say they didn't like her or what? Because that in itself is not enough reason for him to say that, unless he's previously had a girlfriend who's treated his family badly, or he's heard of stories whereby the daughter-in-law has been terrible to the in-laws, and so he thought, I went out of my way to make your family comfortable, you're not doing the same, so we're done. That's the impression that I get, because otherwise it doesn't make sense why they're going back and forth, and I hate when the girls try to back each other up on nonsense. I don't know why Brittany was saying anything. She should have minded her business, in my opinion. So we get to hear from Taylor's parents, and it's nice to see the turnaround. Gareth must really have impressed them because they've gone from not wanting to be on camera to being there to support Gareth and Taylor during the reunion. This was amazing to see. This was really amazing. It shows real growth in the relationship and real growth in their trust as well. Gareth and Taylor said they've been doing amazing. They've been traveling the world. They have sort of changed their minds about moving to San Diego. They were going to move to Washington, D.C. I think because that was a compromise for them because Taylor's lived there before. So I think it made sense for them to live there instead of them going back to Garrett's hometown or be closer to his parents. So I love that for them. They seem to be at peace. They seem to be very happy. And I wouldn't be surprised very soon if they say they're planning a family. We got to see Jessica and her husband and her son. She looks totally different from season 1 and she seems to have grown emotionally. She's not as roller coaster as she was on the show, so I love that for her. We get to we saw Marshall and we also saw Nancy. Nancy has moved to New York. She says she's flourishing in New York. She's doing very well and she's happy and at peace. She's found a man, but the man doesn't want to. He's feeling very shy. But we were shown someone who looked like an actor that I've seen on some show. I don't remember which show, but hey, as long as she's happy and she's got over Batiste, that's the important bit. Marshall, his engagement was called off, so he's now living in LA and is just hoping to find his next project, I assume. He apologized to Bliss and Zack to say, I've left Seattle, I've left you guys behind. That was cute. The bit about Ashley and Tyler seemed like they were overcompensating, the constant kissing, the constant whatever. And for me, it's not Ed for them to say we're starting a new tradition, the two of us and whatever. He's got children that he's put on their birth certificate. The least they could do is show him spending time with those children. That is what I feel like. They should have shown us him, since he's friends with this woman. They should have shown Ashley meeting the children and sort of getting to know the children and the mother. That way at least they can take it from there. They have decided to pretend like nothing else happened apart from the two of them meeting and falling in love, but sadly their story is now tainted with everything else that happened after the show or everything else that has been revealed. I don't know. I can't wait. They've introduced us to season 8 from Minneapolis, I think they said. They've got 3 cast members there. I can't wait to see what happens with that. I really hope, if nothing else, this is a learning experience for them, and the production company takes it seriously and makes sure that they do a rigorous search of their participants before they cast them on the show. I know you're not going to be able to know every single thing about someone, and they can't put out fillers to say, can someone tell us about this person, because otherwise that's going to actually release the identity of people being cast on the show. But this was a train wreck. It was a train wreck, and I don't know how they can ever, or what they can ever do to repair the image of the show, because this has surpassed, the Shaq debacle or even the Shane debacle or even SK. This has gone way past Uche. This is now terrible. It's a terrible, terrible stain on the show, and I hope they do something to sort of repair the show or repair the image of the show so that viewers are not put off by it. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 12. Bye guys.